Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Right now at 7, we continue following breaking news. 2 students and 2 teachers killed in a school shooting today in Georgia, sending students scrambling for safety. Taking a live look at the school now, the 14-year-old student accused of opening fire will be charged with murder. 9 others were hurt, and tonight we are getting new reaction and learning more about those victims. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. WRAL's Brian Schrader has been in the live center following the developments for hours now. Brian, what is the latest?
In the past hour, we have learned the name of one of those victims, Mason Skirmerhorn, a teenager who had autism, a student at the school. His mother confirms to WSB television that he was killed today, one of the 2 students and 2 teachers killed in that shooting at Appalachia High School. Live pictures of the scene right now. You can see where that investigation is continuing there. People are gathered outside of the school. The investigators there, they also have erected a fence around the school. I want to show you some video from earlier in the day. This all started just after 10:30 this morning when police say 14-year-old Colt Gray started firing in the school. A school resource officer first confronted Gray within minutes of that shooting call going out, and they say that he immediately surrendered. 9 others were injured, all with some form of a gunshot wound, and apparently the severity of those injuries varies widely. We still are working to get details about that. Here is what one student experienced this morning.
I was scared I was going to die, to be honest. And when I heard hard lockdown, I knew it wasn't a drill. I immediately texted my dad, and I was just like, I don't know if this is a drill. I'm really scared. And I just kept my feet up, and I prayed. And I closed my eyes, and I tried to stay calm. But I was shaking. I was worried that they would hear me. But when I heard gunshots, I knew.
And all of the schools in that county are canceled for the rest of the week. Of course, that entire community is going to need a lot of time to heal. We can tell you that Gray is going to be charged with murder and will be tried as an adult.
Horrible details. Thank you. And today here in our area, 2 schools were on lockdown for different reasons. Hope Mills Middle School in Cumberland County was at the center of a swatting incident after someone called 911 threatening to shoot up the school. Investigators say there was no actual threat. In Wake County, nearby police activity sent Millbrook High School on a code yellow community lockdown after school hours. The all clear was given soon after.
New information for you tonight about a prison break at a juvenile detention center in our area. Radio traffic now revealing the teenage inmate charged with murder jumped a fence in the rec yard to escape C.A. Dillon Detention Center in Granville County. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan has been asking questions there about this and uncovered staffing shortages at the facility.
Central County units have a report of a prison break. Seems to be near 100 Dillon Drive.
That escapee, 17-year-old Zane Sesnick, who found a way out Monday afternoon.
We'll make contact now with a employee. She's trying to advise me where he jumped the fence. One of the workers said he was in the woods.
Sesnick is charged with the murder of 71-year-old Jerry Hicks, who was found dead in his Wake County home on Old Mill Burney Road last June.
We're also looking at the physical security of the building itself and seeing if there are any physical security things that we need to improve about the building to make sure that this cannot happen again.
Deputy Secretary William Lassiter spoke to security issues that need to be addressed at C.A. Dillon. This is actually the 6th inmate who has escaped in the last year.
We've already noticed some physical security things that we may be able to put in place at that particular facility to eliminate this type of problem from happening again.
The current capacity at C.A. Dillon has been reduced to 55 beds. As of Monday morning, there were 38 youth housed in the facility, but fewer staff members. 32 of 64 direct care positions were vacant, placing the facility's vacancy rate at 50%. C.A. Dillon was originally open in the 1960s and closed in 2016 due to a declining population in juvenile justice facilities. The facility was renovated and reopened in 2020 to help accommodate the new Raise the Age population entering the system. Starting this month, the Department of Juvenile Justice will work to prevent escapes like the one you just saw. They'll actually be conducting mock escape exercises at every single juvenile facility in the state. Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News, Raleigh.
Here are 5 things you should know right now about big stories that we have been following today. Fayetteville police have discovered multiple suspects believed to be involved in the case of a drive-by shooting that killed a 7-year-old boy. This is in connection with the June case that killed Zion Gibbs. Detectives said the car used in the shooting was found on private property in Winston-Salem. The gun used in the crime was also found in another jurisdiction. Officials in Granville County are still searching for the suspect in a double shooting. They say this man on your screen, Andre Jones, is considered armed and dangerous. Investigators say Jones walked into a home on Wynwood Circle and shot a 35-year-old woman and a 42-year-old man. They say the male victim left the scene and was found at a nearby corner store. Jones is still on the run tonight. RFK Jr. has a last-minute court hearing set for tomorrow in Wake County as he attempts to get off the ballot in North Carolina. The third-party candidate recently dropped out of the race for president. He doesn't want his name on the ballot, fearing it might hurt Donald Trump, who he endorsed. But here in North Carolina, state officials denied Kennedy's request to remove his name. They said it's too late. The state is sending out mail-in ballots on Friday. Kennedy's lawsuit seeks to stop that. And NC State students, faculty, and staff could get the results of a health investigation into Poe Hall in the next few weeks. Poe Hall was closed last November after cancer-causing PCBs were found in the building. During a virtual meeting last week, Executive Vice Chancellor Charles Mimone said 30 years worth of documents have been turned over to the CDC investigators who are doing a health hazard evaluation. He expects the results this semester. The evaluation can determine the potential effects of PCBs found in Poe Hall, but cannot require NC State to take any action. And North Carolina children are shaking off pandemic learning loss. However, they're not out of the woods just yet. New data out today shows in most grades and subjects, students are doing better than they have in the last 3 years. In Wake County, students surpassed their pre-pandemic test scores in more subject areas. Math proficiency rose from about 63% to nearly 65% for 3rd through 8th graders. Reading proficiency also rose slightly.
Good news, isn't it? So, beautiful day today. Clouds have moved in, though. We are tracking the chance for rain for your day tomorrow. Meteorologist Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a timeline for us, Kat.
We could see a little bit of rain midday tomorrow. The good news is this isn't going to add up to anything in your rain gauge. After all the rain we've seen, we don't need that. So it's a few sprinkles, but we did want to let you know about that chance. A 20% chance in the morning, midday the chance, 30% into the early afternoon. No big deal. I don't think it's going to cause any issues in terms of traffic or the roadways out there, but we've got a lot of moisture being fed into the area. We're going to watch over the weekend as an area of low pressure nearby brings a better chance for rain. That system now marked for a 20% chance of tropical development. I'll let you know why I'm not really concerned about this and have a closer look at the weekend coming up.
All right, Kat, thank you. UNC is considering several new sites for a Dean Dome, home of the Tar Heels basketball. This is a look at all 6 options just recently made public by the university. They include on and off campus sites, but all of them could fit a 16,000-seat arena. WRAL's Carly Haynes is live in Chapel Hill this evening. Carly, all this new information is from a recent report.
What we saw today was a very high-level look at those possible options, but an architecture firm is still going to go in and weigh the potential impacts or the costs. Now, 2 of those on-campus options involve keeping the Smith Center exactly where it is, either renovating it or tearing it down and replacing it entirely. Another option involves moving the Smith Center next door over to the Bulls parking lot. But there are some off-campus options as well that would make them multi-use developments or mixed-use developments. Carolina North and Friday Center. Now, the Smith Center is nearly 40 years old and due for a replacement. In all of the options, UNC reduces that seat capacity from 22,000 to 16,000. And the school is joining that trend of downsizing its venue, and there's a reason for that. They can begin to incorporate luxury boxes and club seats and in turn make some more money. WRAL sports investigative reporter Brian Murphy explains if UNC takes the route of an off-campus location could have a bigger impact on UNC students.
The fact that they are considering a plan that would require busing to bring up to 3,000 students to these off-campus locations, and that would be a major change for anyone who's gone to a UNC game or attended UNC. It'd be a much different campus life if the basketball arena is no longer on campus.
Well, there's not a set timeline for choosing any one of these options. UNC is still working through the possibilities. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Chapel Hill.
All right, thanks to Carly. Still ahead, phones in schools. Boy, this is a topic that any parent, any kid, any person has an opinion on. We're going to revisit it again, hear from some teachers who emailed us about where they stand on the issue as we go in depth into the mailbag. Plus, a Durham brewery is expanding where full steam is moving, growing its footprint and reach in the Bull City. Next.
All new at 7 o'clock here in the WRAL Live Center, some breaking political news. In an appearance at Duke University earlier this evening, former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, one of the best-known Republican critics of former President Donald Trump, told the crowd what she plans to do in this year's presidential election.
I have thought deeply about this, and because of the danger that Donald Trump poses, not only am I not voting for Donald Trump, but I will be voting for Kamala Harris.
The former Congresswoman was speaking at the Sanford School of Public Policy. She says that as a conservative, she believes that people did not, quote, have the luxury of writing in candidates' names on the ballot this year.
Of course, the school year is here, and we're just over a weekend. Students are back in class, and I'm willing to bet phones are back in the classroom, too. We've been talking a lot about phones in schools for the last few weeks, and there is so much to cover on this topic. So please, let me know if you want us to keep tackling this subject. Send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. What do you think about phones and schools? Should they stay there? What are your thoughts? We got a ton of feedback from teachers who are more than happy to share their thoughts on phones in schools. Gladys has been a teacher for 48 years. She wrote, "The classroom is no place for a cell phone, period. The school office has phones. Parents can get in touch with their child via that phone." Susan is a teacher in Durham. She wrote, 150 million%. It's the parents' responsibility. Susan, I take your point, though 100% would have been fine. Maybe she's language arts. Alice taught for 24 years. She said, "We as academic professionals cannot compete with Instagram, TikTok, or other social media platforms." And it is true. It's nearly impossible for the Pythagorean theorem or early era Mesopotamia to compete with Roblox and Mr. Beast. And that's why some teachers have started to tweak their lesson plan. UNC Charlotte tried out a technology called Poll Everywhere. This is one of their demo videos, and it's pretty simple. A prompt shows up on a screen at the front of the room, and students can then use their phones to answer questions. It can be used for classroom polling or some pop quizzes, competitions, and a lot more. UNC Charlotte found the program, quote, added a flavor of a gaming approach, allowing students to be more engaged with the material. Gamification is sort of a buzzword in parts of education nowadays. It means adding elements like storytelling and problem solving, competition and reward systems into everyday lessons. Quizlet has digital flashcards and lets teachers generate review games for students, where these students can answer questions right from their device, competing individually or in teams. Goose Chase basically turns a lesson into a digital scavenger hunt. Look at this one here. This is from a California history course. It asks students to write a poem about redwoods, write a story about a Hollywood star, and shoot a video about a groundbreaking tech product in Silicon Valley. It all happens on students' phones. And there are many other programs just like this. Classcraft is one, Kahoot, Class Dojo. These are a few of the popular ones you may have heard of. Students we heard from actually seem pretty enthusiastic about using phones as part of learning. Olson is a high school freshman. He wrote me and said, "My last teacher told us to take videos of his math problems and how he worked them out. You can see what they are doing in real time." Also, he said, "Shout out to Mr. Stesiak." We're gonna go Stesiak. We're going Mr. Stesiak. He says, "Best teacher ever." Mr. Stesiak, that's a good shout out. But this doesn't stop at fun video games and videos and things like that. Phones are part of our everyday adult lives as well. Our viewer, Brett, brings up a really great point. He wrote and said, "I believe we need to teach kids how to manage their own phone use rather than just restricting it. If we can help them find balance now, they'll be better equipped to handle the challenges of our tech-driven world as they grow up." And Brett, I'm so glad that you said that. You see, schools are updating their curriculum all the time. You know, we didn't have personal finance classes when I was in high school. No one taught us how to create a spending plan or manage a credit card bill or maintain a good credit rating. Today in North Carolina, these types of classes are in all public high schools. Financial literacy classes are required now for graduation. So why not digital literacy? There are groups working on this too. The Center for Humane Technology has a youth toolkit with 30 to 60-minute lessons on the economy of attention, how brains respond to social media, how students can take control of their social media use, and much more. Figuring out phones in schools is not easy. There are positives and there are negatives, clearly. Calvin emailed me and put it this way: no easy answer for difficult questions, but I like your way of making us think. And that is what this segment is all about, thinking through the toughest topics, tackling news head on, going deeper than the headlines. So please tell me, what do you think? Send me an email at dan@WRAL.com. Ask the difficult questions. Let's make each other think a bit. Tell me what's on your mind, and we'll go in depth.
Digital literacy is such an important thing. Hey, I got to show you this gorgeous image of Beaufort here as this boat is sailing off into the sunset. Just absolutely beautiful. If there's one person I know who actually would prefer to be focusing on the Pythagorean theorem than Roblox, as Dan was describing, it's you, Kat Campbell.
I don't even know what Roblox is, to be totally honest with you. But I love that sunset in the distance. It's so cool because you've got all the low clouds and then the sun setting, lighting up the bottom of the clouds. Just a stunning sight in Beaufort. Beaufort, always such a pretty place. I bet those boaters are seeing some of the wild horses too as they go by. Not a bad place to be on a Wednesday, right? Well, for us tomorrow morning, it's going to be a little warmer at the bus stop for the kids. 58 degrees in Roxborough, 62 in Durham, and we'll be in the mid-60s closer to Goldsboro and Fayetteville. It's going to be a slightly warmer start to the day, but not bad out there by any means. And for the after-school practices, as I mentioned off the top of the newscast, early in the afternoon, there could be a sprinkle. Not worth canceling any outdoor events for that tomorrow. It would be so light. I mean, you'll be fine to do practices outside in that weather. And temperatures are going to be comfortable. At least you're not dealing with the heat like last week. 74 degrees in Durham and Raleigh at this hour. Some people out and about enjoying Dix Park here in Raleigh and in Fayetteville at the baseball stadium. A nice evening, 78 degrees there right now. We've got low pressure offshore, all due to this stalled front. You can kind of see this line of cloud cover right here. That front's stuck. It's going to waver around a little bit in the coming days. We'll probably see an area of low pressure develop on it this weekend. That's what brings the best chance for rain this weekend. It's actually not this front moving in, but this front's going to move in and make sure that that low pressure stays away from us, which is good news, given that the National Hurricane Center does give it a small 20% chance of developing. Tomorrow morning, we're off to a cloudy start. A few sprinkles possible midday. You can barely see them here on Futurecast. It wouldn't add up to anything in your rain gauge. Really, probably not enough to make the roads wet or anything like that. And we'll keep in that slight chance through the early afternoon. Once we get to tomorrow evening, we should see some thinning of the clouds out there, so not totally overcast. As for how much rain we could see, it's looking like less than 1/4 inch. Minimal rain adding up in your rain gauge, unless we were to see that area of low pressure shift inland a little bit this weekend. And hopefully we don't, because we just don't need any more rain. Year to date, it's the fourth wettest year on record at RDU. We're running more than 8 inches above normal for the year as a whole. And so much of that rain came in July and August, when we averaged about 9 inches of rain both of those months. Pretty remarkable, given we were talking drought earlier this year, if you remember that. So here's that system I mentioned. The National Hurricane Center gives that low pressure system offshore a 20% chance of developing as it moves away from us. Again, not moving this way, it would be moving away from us. So the chance is low to begin with, just in case you saw any maps online that looked a little scary with that region close to North Carolina. Wanted to let you know you don't have to worry about it. In fact, nothing tropical expected to impact us over the next 7 days. We got some ups and downs temperature-wise, even getting down to 53 next Tuesday morning.
All right, Kat, thank you. Still ahead, if you are ready for funnel cakes and fair rides, we've got some exciting news. Even more stops if you want to ride the train to the North Carolina State Fair. Details next. This seems like a good idea.
I know, I agree.
Your family can take the train to 2 popular fall events next month, including the State Fair.
This would be, I would enjoy this with the family. Amtrak's going to be making 4 stops at the fairgrounds in Raleigh starting October 18th. Rides start around 9 in the morning and they end just before 6 at night. A train will also make several stops at the annual Lexington Barbecue Festival, and passengers from all over the state, including the Triangle area, will be dropped off and picked up a block from the festival, right? Decent. That'd be a good time. By the way, advance fare tickets are already on sale. Just go to the State Fair website right now, or you can get them at the the Dorton Arena kiosk on weekends. The fair runs October 17th through the 27th, and I always get excited for fair time too. The fall air is going. It's going
to be here in no time.
I know. It's hard to believe, really. Local brewery Full Steam is moving into a new tap room in Durham's American Tobacco campus.
It's leaving the flagship location on Rigsby Avenue next month. Full Steam will take over 9,000 square feet of space at ATC's boiler room. The new space will feature a restaurant, bar, gathering areas inside and out, and a small stage. Full Steam expects the new ATC location to take about a year. WRAL's parent company, Capital Broadcasting, owns ATC. Well, you only have a few more days to get your Brits Donuts fix at Carolina Beach this season.
If you're not familiar, the video should, this tells the story.
Itself.
Yeah, it's a popular shop. It's on the boardwalk there. It's well known for their famous homemade glazed donuts. Brits Donuts' last day open this summer is going to be Sunday. They're also open for select hours Friday and Saturday, unless they sell out first. The NFL season officially kicks off tomorrow right here on WRAL.
Yeah, so quick note here, Baltimore Ravens taking on Kansas City Chiefs. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock, kickoff 8:20.
Football is back. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight on WRAL News.
Our next newscast is at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 on WRAL. Have a great night.
WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.